بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. Brothers and sisters, there's a huge phenomenon that's taking place in our community, especially what I see now from the cases that I'm dealing with in Europe, where brothers leave their wives for months at a time, let alone years sometimes, with the excuse of going overseas to work and to provide for the family. And a lot of people don't understand the ruling of this. And of course, right away from the start, it is not advisable for a man to leave his wife for months at a time alone with her family, her children, and so on, sometimes with no one to be around. If it is a couple of days, even weeks, right, with the intent or the objective to provide for family, there might be a business opportunity, work. Yes, of course, it works and it happens. And that is okay. The longest length that we can see is about 3 months, as per Umar Khattab radiallahu anh, when he was talking to a woman about how long she can hold herself when it comes to intimacy, subhanAllah. We're going to talk about that with regards to the army. And he basically brought the army back, and he would reshuffle the soldiers to come back every 3 or so many months to come back to their family, right? And we see here that, subhanAllah, even the woman's needs are taken into consideration at the level of intimacy. Because a woman, she needs that love and passion to be around, from her man. So some of these brothers are leaving their wives for more than 3 months. And even the 3 months, right, if it's not like something really pressing, where it's like, really a problem, then it shouldn't be done. As I said, few days, couple of weeks, yes, it's understandable. Sometimes the family needs to understand that the man has to go and provide and so on. But a lot of men are basically leaving their families for months, sometimes years. There's certain cases where it's been over a year, even 2, where husband has not come back home to his family, saying that I'm basically providing for a family. Let's split the situation based again on the cases that I'm dealing with. Number 1, in of itself, this is sacrifice. Of course, if the man is fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is away from the family, it happens. Sometimes men have gone to study overseas and they couldn't take their wives. And it's a big sacrifice. And it's a problem. It's not advisable. It hurts the woman. It hurts the relationship. It hurts the many things. And it can cause people to go into haram and whatnot. So for the men, they say, well, I can marry again. So if they're overseas sometimes they can marry, they can take care of their desires. But for the woman, she cannot, right? So sometimes she can fall into sin, and many times it does happen. So men have to think from that perspective. They're رِجَالُ قَوَّمُونَ عَلَى النِّسَاءِ. They have to take care of their wives from that perspective. They can't just say, I'm going, I'm sorry, we have to provide for the family. Yes, it is important, but you have to look at priorities. You have to look at other options and how long you're going to be going. Because you're going to put your wife in fitna. You're going to put your wife in this huge problem. So this is not advisable. As I said, Umar Khattab would allow the army to go for 3 months, and then they would have to come back home. But what it seems to come to us from the cases that we're dealing with is that brothers go overseas. They don't provide sometimes, or sometimes they do, but they kind of just let things go. 1 year, 2 years away from the family. Huge problems start happening. Not only that, but these brothers leaving from Muslim countries, they go into Europe and they start acting up. They start messing around with women, with men, doing weird stuff. And, subhanAllah, then they don't want to come back home. And they keep saying, no, but they use the excuse that I'm providing for the family. And this is incorrect. This is a big sin, a big mistake to justify your absence from home and you're messing around with women, And subhanAllah, they don't even marry. Forget about the first group that I talked about, that they marry, which is something halal and allowed. So that the permissibility of that can be, discussed and disputed. But I'm talking here about men who go and start messing around in foreign countries. They're working there. Maybe they're sending back money back, but they're messing around. They're not marrying. They're committing zina. They're drinking. They're partying. And then they justify to themselves. They convince themselves that I'm working for my family, I'm providing for the family, I'm doing something good for the family. You have to stop. You need to fear Allah, go back to your wife, take care of that woman that you've taken upon. If you're overseas or whatever, you're committing zina, no, commit to marriage. Marry, not haram, bro. And then you justify because you're working, right? But bottom line from the beginning, you shouldn't be leaving your family for so many months, for a year. Some people don't even contact them. Some people just will be like a phone call. Your children are growing. You don't even see them. You don't see them becoming, they need you. And you are justifying that, oh, I'm providing. I know that the Muslim Ummah is suffering from the perspective of finances, from work. Some people are leaving, migrating, running away from the Muslim countries because our Muslim countries are pushing them away, making it difficult for them to be Muslims, to find rizq. And they go to the countries of non-Muslims. And then they find this, this environment, and then they lose themselves. So be careful. You have to weigh. Yes, some people have to sacrifice. Yes, I understand the situation in some of these countries, how difficult it is. But remember, you need to balance it out. You need to prioritize. Always Allah and His Messenger. Your family comes after to take care of them. And balance it and understand it and know what you're doing. And be careful what position and situation you put yourself in. But never abandon your family. This is not Islamic. This is not correct. Yes, the Sahaba would go for months sometimes for war, for this or that. But they come back to their families. And they don't commit sins and zina. But they marry and they take care of Allah's rules and rights first. Before just following weird stuff and partying and enjoying themselves just for in haram. Okay? Allah has given us a way out for everything. Allah has given us a solution for all the problems. We need to fear Allah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells in the Quran, وَمَن يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. And before that He says, وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقْهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ وَمَن يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. Whoever fears Allah, Allah will provide an exit for them. And He will provide for him rizq from places he will never imagine. And whoever puts their trust in Allah, Allah is enough for them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us and protect us and help us to do the right things. Barakallahu fikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.